Hi there and welcome to the channel. I'm Slate and today I am joined by the one and only Mortar Mike, who is here because we are going to have a chat about setting up a GVG defense for this brand new map. Say hi everyone to Mortar Mike.
Y'all know it's go time, right? Y'all ready for some goodness? Because it's time to give it. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know Mortar Mike, which would absolutely surprise me more than anything, he also is a big GVG fan and every week does an Eat Sleep GVG where he goes over all of his attacks. And so, yeah, so we're both a little bit nerdy, aren't we, on the whole GVG thing?
Yes. I feel so bad now because I have to scrap 2 videos because I finished 9 and 10, but now there's a new defense. So that video is just like, people are like, I want to see that old building.
It's like, it's
So
gone.
I
It's
just
gone.
saved the thumbnails or remake them.
With the brand new season. But yeah, it is going to be very exciting because we do have this new map. So what I thought we would do, because nothing has been tested, and I will say I have been avoiding my guild chat all day to make sure that I don't accidentally leak any of our teams.
Yeah, this is wise. This is very wise because I know people are hard at work with the time they have right now. So this is
Yeah.
definitely us with our experience and what we've tried that works. So I'm interested to see what we do.
Yeah. So what I thought is basically we're going to put together a dummy team which covers all the roles that you would need in a GVG team, and then we can go over the various placements that we think would work. You know, because obviously there's two like main areas that I think we can do a placement. So
Yeah.
how about, do you want to start with the classic Northern or the classic Nightmare, do you think?
I want to say I think Nightmare is still going to be a viable option. I think we might want to start with them.
Yeah.
Northerners are starting to creep up though because a lot of champions are getting double faction, and it's really interesting to see what's coming together. Like Jira's coming in there now. You have the new one that's going to be coming in. I think it's Glacius, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's a Northerner
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
So they went from not many offensive options to it's about to be interesting.
Yeah.
Looking
So
forward to it.
this is the sort of typical team that you would have previously. You bunch them near the portal. You would use a Carnelian. Actually, you'd use a Lily, to be honest. So that is your classic
Yeah.
Nightmare team.
I'm
So,
already jealous of this, by the way. Just so you know, well in advance, I'm jealous of this
of
because
this.
there's arrogance and there's hats and there's me imagining.
Yeah. So the classic portal structure, I think we could still do,
Mhm.
because it would basically be this,
That's good.
right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you'd have the heroes walking around, the little demon soldiers coming through the portal, and everything else. But the problem with this being here is Abomination is not really going to hit anything on that tile, and Arrogance
Exactly.
is only going to hit things if he's ulting. It also puts
Yeah.
Hatsit in a very dangerous position.
Yeah. Because
So
all you have to do is send unalives. That's what I call the bug, or the boomies, as Destin calls them, and they're going to just hit them without much of a without much resistance.
yeah, exactly. So the other option is this sort of placement, and then putting again Hatsit would really have to go. I mean, she could go
Yeah.
here, because she'd reach, but then her ultimate is not done well. I mean,
Yeah, her the challenge, the biggest thing is the ultimate. I'm thinking you could try the left area facing down, but again, you have the same issue with the ultimate only popping when they're within range of getting past abomination.
yeah,
Which, to be fair, that is kind of when you want to pop too.
yeah,
You don't want it to just pop on the tank. You want it to pop when something slips through.
yeah. But that is really the best position for a Hatsit.
Yeah,
However, it's a very vulnerable position for a Hatsit. But
it is.
it does mean that Wrath is not going to take very many direct hits, which is good because he's not great as a tank. Abomination is a better tank.
Yeah.
And then Arrogance gets that nice line of fire as well. And everyone is safe by Lily. So that to me would
Lily's
be...
got a lot of work to do in this she's got a lot of work to do because she got to keep everybody alive. So it's very interesting to see what could happen here.
Yeah. So I'm not actually sure whether or not Lily would be the best placement here. You might even want to go for a different healer, but yeah, that to me would be a remake of the classic Portal team for a Nightmare comp.
And the challenge with this stage is that, like that comp we just saw, depending on how you gear your champions, you may have a tough time against bookkeepers.
Yeah.
Especially if your healer can't heal multiple allies at once. It's only a matter of wearing them down and getting a kill or two and then sending a rush in there. You could pull it off. So you know me, the first thing I'm thinking is what would I do against a team?
Exactly. It's like, how would I take it out? And you're suddenly like, but this is incredibly vulnerable. So in terms of like the bottom half placement, because there's like two main placements, you're either doing this top section or you're doing this bottom section. Now, Arrogance really is primed. This spot is a fantastic long range fighter spot, definitely. For Arrogance, Valkyra, Ardea, it's a beautiful spot actually. But this is where it gets interesting with these two. So
even if you have to use an Aracha, like that's a good spot to have her at. Like if you're using it for the bonus of Lord, like still a decent spot.
Yeah. So this thing now here, I would almost rather, because this doesn't really suit a fighter here. I mean, you could put the tank here and a fighter goes there with something else going up, but you would then use 3 platform units, I think. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I think you have to support this team heavily because, like, to me, this is my personal opinion. When I saw this map, the first thing I thought was this is going to be an advantage to the attackers. There will be some tank teams that's going to be involved, but this is like day one. So this isn't like we don't have the end stress that people are going to figure out along the way. No. But it's favoring the attackers, or you have to be an aggressive team to basically overwhelm whatever's coming your way, because the other benefit is this giveaways to long range attackers. But we mentioned this before, a lot of the long range attackers don't hit aerial units. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out. Like it gives for a lot of entries like Ardea, Vulcan during the ult, Dahlia. They just don't hit aerial units most of the time.
So I think definitely in terms of placements, I think for your fighters, there's 2 places. You can either place a fighter here or you place the fighter here, right? And this is, I did a collab with Ronaldo on GVG. I'll link that in the description below. But we were saying,
I think I was watching that before we jumped on here. I got it on the screen. Like, I'm enjoying that already.
We were saying how with these 2 new spots, these like melee characters may have a chance in GVG. So I think that's where they would go. But in terms of the long range fighters, to me, it's that spot for a long range fighter, and then your traditional this spot as well. I wonder if you would also do there for a long range fighter.
I think you can if you have a defender above him.
Yes.
You have to have something to keep him for sure,
Yeah, so we'll pretend Abomination is a tank. You could have it facing like this.
I like that placement.
Yeah. And then you would want to make sure... See, this is where it gets interesting, because this is then going to be your kill zone right here. So...
It feels like in a situation like this, it feels weird to say this, I would wonder if a Gwendolyn would be an interesting option. I love where you put that Lily, by the way. That's a good spot. As long as she can't get sniped, I think she's going to be just out of range to get one shot. And so I think she'd be good when they come out of the portal.
But because, the Demon Soldiers are going to come down here, across here, and then up here. And I don't know in this tile where they're going to hit. And then obviously they follow it around. But yeah, I think in terms of long range fighters, if we move the other ones out of the way and pretend Abomination is the tank, I think you either put him there, you put a long range fighter there with the tank in front, and I think the third placement for a long range fighter is going to be there.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
see anywhere else for a long range fighter?
For the most part, the benefit of being long range is using that ability. So that's kind of all I can say that would be the good options. And that's just for like our ground units too. So yeah, and that's going to be the meat and potatoes for most of our defenses. If they can get walked past, everything else doesn't really matter.
Oh, exactly. So thinking about that, we should move on to a more platform heavy team. So I'm going to knock up. Who should we go? Let's just get one of everything to play around with. So we want a tank. We'll bring in Brokir. We want a mage. Let's go for mages. Who's your favorite mage?
My favorite, well, probably Boreas, but Boreas is so easy to bait in this content. You know what? Let's try Nora.
We can
we don't
try
have to worry
Nora.
about the benefits of her now, and her summon can't be killed.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know. I don't think it can. It doesn't have an HP bar. What if the archer shot down the dragon? It'd be terrible.
We'll bring in trusty old Sargak as our marksman. Yeah. We then need a healer. Might as well bring in... Do you want to go for an Eloin or a Hollow?
In this comp, I would say Eloin.
I'll say Eloin. Yeah. And then for a long-range fighter, let's bring in trusty old Valkyra. Now, this is not a team I would say that anyone should actually build. It's got not very good synergy.
Yeah, they are there for display purposes because it's going to be a wrecking shop.
Absolutely.
Just so you guys know, don't start judging early. This is literally for reference. This is not like this is the meta comp on like
no.
6 hours.
Yeah.
Don't do this to us.
Like don't. But this is where we have 3 platform units basically. Yeah. So again, if we're looking at this bottom one, defender goes there, long range fighter goes behind. Then if you had a vortex, that's a lovely spot for a vortex. But in this, she doesn't reach.
In the way of bombs.
Oh, she does reach as she goes there. So that is the only spot for Eloin.
Which is such a challenge. It's such a challenge. I feel like you got to put her in the bottom facing up. I feel like you have to.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. And then you'd put your mage in front and your Sargak here, because what you would do actually in this is have Araka in that spot, so Sargak reaches the lane in front.
Yeah, I do like even looking at this, like not necessarily saying this is the comp, but it feels weird, like the way that the defenses have to be set up in this. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing somebody like an Asande starting to show up in this content, because there's so much to be concerned about beyond just making a shell defense like we used to. Because it used to be a shell defense with a full lane and central key, or even in the other one, it's just a straight shot. So now you got to really consider a lot more positions than just keep the tank alive in the front.
Yeah, and this is a good spot for a healer because, again, if it is that vortex range, it will cover all those tiles. And your Asande, if they go there, they would then cover Anora and Brock with that range. Same as a Lily. So again, that works with a Lily. You don't want to put your healer out front.
That's such a dead zone. I wonder if anybody's going to use that spot. I don't know what for. The only thing you would use it for, and it's already too easy to bait, is somebody like a Demi.
Yeah.
Like that's it. But then she's so easy to bait because you know the ult's coming because you can just tap her now.
And she's just going to die. So yeah. And then, I mean, this is another spot that you could put one of those, the healers coming down. But it's again, it's not my... We'll bring out a vortex next to show the best places. Yeah. But I think Eloin is really going to shine up here.
Exactly in the back. Yep. That's all I was thinking. I was like, in the front, it's going to be so much extra work. Back here, when she really has... And also, the best part about this setup is that it makes it difficult for players that haven't played as much. If you're a defender, it makes it difficult for them to get their timings down. This is a whole new map. It's much more distance, and that's a challenge that Central Keep has. People aren't used to the timing, so until they see a meta, they don't know how to make a meta. So for defenders, the way back area is my recommended spot. Even though it's not as much advantage for long ranges, I think it's still a good spot.
So yeah, that would sort of be your 3 platform tile with an Eloin. You could bring the mage down in front. but I'm not
My only
sure.
concern is who's going to get sniped, right? Like, wait, can Brokir come down another tile?
Not to be within Elowin's range.
That's right. Well, for Elwin, that's right. That's right. For
Yeah.
Elvin.
I mean, if it wasn't I mean, the other thing is you could put, if we brought Elowin down,
Hmm.
we could then do something like that.
Interesting. And Sargat can still reach and do good damage. That's an interesting comp. I like that
Yeah.
actually.
And
It's
Sargat
so
then
weird
not getting
because you can't
healed.
test these demons. So we got the friendly face off this. Can we friendly face off already?
We can. Yeah, we can. Oh, no, we can't.
Because
I
you can
actually
set
don't know.
defense. I don't know yet because it's like the first day. So test it if you can friendly face off. We both recommend doing that
Yeah.
because then you get to find out where demons can attack and all of that, and it will make a world of a difference. Don't be like me and I was like 5 GVG videos in before I learned what merging doesn't have to be. You could just slow the world down by
Just
tapping.
slow it all down.
I was trying. I was struggling.
But yeah. So to me, that Elowin's prime positions, if you're going to use her, is going to be here, 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 facing down is another option. Here, and I just wouldn't put her in. I mean, you could.
That's
put
risky.
Her here.
That's
so if
risky.
she was here, you would.
Because she's also not in box range either.
No.
I like that spot. If Brokir is here, because then I can use a long range at the top here and I can get some damage in. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that Brokir would get priority aggro in that spot right there.
Yeah. So you could almost, because they're going to both be covered, but then you would do 3 platform units. You do another platform unit here, but that means you are very susceptible to being overrun if you've only got that single block.
Yeah.
But if you have the damage, like, it might be that we now see, multiple AoE heroes, and you don't necessarily have to worry about being overrun because you've got 3 AoE platform units. That will just snipe everything.
I really want to see how this plays out now because there's so many more things to think about now. Like Honora by herself, to be fair, is going to. I know this sounds like a hot take. This is me giving it. I think Honora is going to be a big threat in GVG now because she doesn't need to be built. As far not built, she doesn't need to be supported for one. For two, you don't know if it's a regular labor or a frost labor until you're playing the content, so you don't know what she's going to have as debuffs. And 3, she's going to be immune to debuffs and such. So I don't know if that's really going to play as much as the new Frost God that's coming in, but it's just so much more you have to think about that you won't know until you're mid-battle.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of mid-battle, the classic Northerner Moor team, right? The one that you have to Moor because it's just...
It is tanky.
Too tanky. It's too you can't get through it. You can't get through it. I want to try something that isn't Valkyrie, so I want to do the double tank. I think we then bring in Mari because she's got that crowd control. She's usually in the Northerner comps. I don't have Gwendolyn, so we're going to pretend Vortex is Gwendolyn.
I was just about to say, do y'all realize this is her account? Like, this isn't test server, by the way. This is just her being so much in GVG. She just has the priority champions ready to show. By the way, get her on the test server. Like, you watching this,
Yes,
I see you watching Shanghai. Can we get her on the test server so she can put out every champion and show this stuff too?
That would be really great.
Comment section, go ahead and say put her in the test server at Moonton. I don't know how that will work, but please do it.
And then we don't have a lot of AoE going on, so
also, I want to say this too now. This may be the place where the new mage is going to be awesome. Glacius.
Yeah.
Would be really interesting with this team.
Absolutely.
For those that don't know, she's a frost mage. He applies slow and he applies a percentage chance of freeze in his kit. And I think he also gives Winter's Bite. I may be going beyond on that one, but his ult is a triple hitter, and that's still applying slow and still applying freeze. So and it's random enemies, so it's not just like single target. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to play out with this team because it's been something that's always been lacking. Even though I think Maria is supposed to be a villain.
Yeah.
Let's
So I think
know
this
what
thing,
he's
like,
got in
I
order.
wouldn't necessarily recommend a double mage team, but this kind of double tank with 2 platform units, I think this is the best way that we can like showcase it.
Yeah.
So interestingly, to me, there's only one spot for a double tank team, and that's up here.
I was about to
But
say the back area. Yeah.
you could, I want to see if we were to do a double tank down here. Like I said, well, see, this is the thing. You wouldn't want.
Your
I mean, you
mage to be
can
that
do that, but
exposed.
then Murray's going to get hit and sniped and dead, right?
Yeah.
So to me, double tank does not work down there. So instead, you'd have your double tank up here. Then Mari with her slows would be there. Boreas would be there. And Vortex. Vortex can be
That is
anywhere. Can't
That
it?
is a crazy spot for Boreas too. Like the range he's gonna have on this map is lovely. I cannot wait.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think the nice thing about a team like this, and I mean, you'd almost swap them around. I wonder if you put Boreas here in that safer spot, and Mari.
Yeah, and then she gets the defense buff from Brokir, so it makes it just a tiny bit more tanky of staying alive.
Yeah, you wouldn't want her there because she's going to get sniped.
Yeah.
So you'd put her there, and then with that lovely freeze that she does, she can block anything that's going to come to the portal. You would have, I mean, Brock, again, it's not, I mean, you could, again, if we moved it back one, how would that go? So
my concern here is that, like, even if you're looking at this team right now, my concern is going to be, and you can tell me what your experience is on this one too. Those Pharaoh guards are going to be able to live through a lot of this, but that still doesn't open up a lot of options for attackers. You probably still will have to maul this team.
Yeah. I mean, this
because they're
thing,
going to slow you down so much.
I mean, this thing, the problem with this is there's really, everything is just being focused on this one tile here. And I don't like it at all. So, to me...
That's waiting to comfort.
Right? There's, like, you can't bank on just one tile.
And to be fair, you really can't plan timing around that because it may be too late. Depending on if they got, like, level 5 bugs. They probably can creep past Brokir if you time it right enough. Like, there's going to be times people are going to master it very soon.
Absolutely.
As you said,
speaking of which, I will definitely be doing an updated bomb guide once I get the timings down.
Yes. It's only a matter of time, and when it happens, it's going to be nice.
It's going to be there. So this is the thing, like, funnily enough, I don't know that a double tank is going to be the right option anymore because this is just a dead zone. You almost want a fight, like a 2-tile fighter here, or something that's going to fight here. But again, it's the block count because this isn't going to be blocking anything, is it?
Yeah.
So
you know what makes it interesting for me? Even though I would like to get Hars' Lord bonus, I would end up swapping out Hars for Jira. Wait, am I auto backing up stuff? I bet I am. I would end up swapping out Hars for Jira and putting Jira behind Hars, like to the left of him, and just letting her wail on anything that comes up against that wall there, and then Brokir is above him. And the mages can do as much slowdown as they need to.
Wait. So you're saying, wait a second, I know exactly what you're talking about. So, actually...
Because her DPS is so good, and if she gets hit, she does more damage against the teams too.
Because she reflects the damage, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So, if we had her, that means you could then bring in a marksman. You're losing the Lord bonus, but I always say only bring a Lord if it's going to benefit your team, not because you want the bonus. Now, this is where I want to show off because I think has got very exciting potential. And we will also bring in a hollow.
Don't judge me. You know who I'm rooting for? I don't know yet. I really don't know yet. I'm rooting for somebody to find a competent strategy with Kai. Only because of all of the traps that he sets, I'm very interested to see what somebody can do with that on this map. Yeah. Because it's the whole map. So I'm very interested.
The thing that's really interesting is there were a couple of keep teams last season that had a Kai that was so difficult to beat. And I
Because
don't
it's
know whether it's because
unpredictable.
they have got cracked out accounts. But yeah, his traps were quite interesting. So yeah, so
Yeah.
because Jira does her reflect damage, are you saying we put her in that corner with the tank there?
So the reason why I say that for multiple reasons here. One, because when she pops her ult, she's gonna be stupid hard to kill. That's number one. Two, if the battle draws out, she's gonna get her ult a second time. So she's just gonna just hang out there and just keep doing damage.
Yeah.
Three, any damage you try to do as far as AoE probably won't kill her. Because she's going to be within Brokir's range. She's also going to be within Healer's range. She's tank. You can build her tanky enough to survive a lot of the regular hits.
Yeah.
And you're slowing down everything. Everything small is going to die from like Bereas or AI along the way. And everything left is just going to be tanks. And that's where she's going to be able to do a really good amount of damage there. And she's just hitting one target at the same the whole time. So
Yeah, and then reflecting that damage back, right? So, but
yeah.
this is the spot that I think I is going to shy in, because do you
Yeah.
see how much space she has to pop those crystals?
Yes. That's lovely.
It's
And it's
beautiful.
great because like you cannot time with AI. If eyes on the team, you cannot time. It is just let it go. Hope your guys can make it through the winter because she is gonna freeze. And the worst part is the longer you wait, the worse it gets.
But then Sargat goes there, although Sargat to me feels vulnerable in that position. So I would
Yeah.
almost move him back one, and then you've got your healer coming back, something like that.
And another reason why I say Jira is going to be an interesting idea for this, Jira has a natural 30% resistance to any aerial units because she can't target them, so they can't get retribution, which means she automatically gets that defense applied to
Oh,
her.
of course,
So
yeah.
it's that little stuff that does help out here. I will be interested to see how this works out.
But yeah. So yeah, I mean that's another potential, is effectively fighter, tank, some kind of mage. And I think if you didn't have an eye, or you weren't using someone like that, you could again put the magic damage back here, I think is another option. But you'd have basically 2 DPS units here and a wide healer here.
Yeah,
is what
AoE
I'm
would be good
thinking.
for that. You're right.
But yeah, I wonder if this can be put down the bottom here with Jira there and the tank here.
I don't think people realize how tanky Jira actually is. Like, have they seen the stats? She starts at like 30k HP just to begin.
Yeah. But
And
then
her ult
here,
gets 4 HP, so you really have to rush her.
there's another defense.
Yeah, that's actually a really good defense. To me, that would be a tough defense for me.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily use I in this position. But if you had a mage of some description, or you could put the marksman there and the mage here, it doesn't really matter. I mean, actually, that leads me on to, my brain is just whirring at the moment. I don't know about yours, but I'm like, what about this and what about this?
Yeah, yeah.
But we have to talk about the new cultist potential. Because
As soon as you click Captain Rev, I was like, oh, here we go.
Dahlia, I was just looking at being like, hang on a minute, Dahlia. Dahlia, Hollow, Reeve, Greed for the crowd control, and then you need to have a piercer. So
Yeah, for anti-air. That's what I was thinking. I was like, how do we balance this team out?
Yeah.
Because
And-
Greed can slow them down, but it's half damage, right?
yeah, I mean, Greed in this comp, honestly, I would exchange for a Morrigan, to be honest. Like, I think you'd want that, but let's go for. Let's just bring in. Oh, we're just gonna stick with. No, we're gonna bring in a Nyx. Might as well. Would not use Nyx with this team at all, but we haven't showed off that long range marksman yet. So we have to talk about it. This is the Dahlia spot.
That's crazy.
Isn't it?
If you tank right there, and especially if those bushes get involved, not to mention the more bushes you have, the rose bushes, whatever they're called, I can't remember the right term, but the more of those you have, the more it can increase your block also. So if there's 2 rose bushes nearby, the block automatically goes up again.
Yeah.
And so that's just another thing to be considered. And you won't think about it until you run the comp. Like, why aren't my guys getting by? Because Dahlia exists and she's throwing a whole forest second away.
Yeah, and then you basically put You do something like that,
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
right?
That's crazy. That prevents bomb comps for one. That's the first issue. Bomb comps are just
Yeah.
as easy as it looks like it could happen. That is a trap waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Um,
And you
you
don't
could
have
try
to,
to
you could do it the other way around. You can do, there's, that's where you put your two platform units, and it can be greed with the slows. But to be honest, thinking about it, with Dahlia's slows, I don't think greed is necessary. So to me,
yeah.
like I said, that is where you would bring in your cultist lord, like a Morrigan, and
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't necessarily need an AoE marksman, but I do think this Dahlia prime position means you do only need one ground unit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rev is a great choice for it too. Like if I can get, I will say this too. I would be interested to see how often Curse is going to start working in this content too. That's why I still think champs like a Comet are like, you don't realize how good Curse is until you're like, wait, that defense, that attack failed because they just weren't hitting anymore, and it's just something you forget is a part of his kit.
Yeah. Talking about Curse, looking at Esotericist teams, right? Because they're another popular one. We have Elowin, Cyrus, Boreas, Ezrin, and
Yes.
trying to think what are we missing here? We are missing a marksman.
It's a solid anti-aero marksman. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, AoE. I'm almost thinking you would want a Hatset, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Now, let me ask you this question. This, I guess, is worth asking. What do you think of the reliability of Lucius for GVG? Because he has the dual ults. What do you think of, like, how do you think that's going to play out?
so I think the problem is his ults. If there was a
Mm-hmm.
way to almost like turn off part of it, I think he would be okay. But I just think he's going to be too unreliable. Basically, he is either going to be God tier, hallelujah, especially with
Yeah,
Ingrid coming in. We're going to see
sweet
like
Lord.
watch guards just being
50%? Oh
beautiful,
my God.
right?
Yeah.
But part of me goes, not too sure. So no, we'll bring in our boy Silas for some. Although,
Mm-hmm.
actually, I'm going to bring in a Maul because Maul has that knockback, and we like a bit of knockback.
Mm-hmm.
So, or do we want to bring in? Wait, I brought in two healers.
You're keeping them safe here. When I saw the two, I was like, they will not die.
They
That's
are
for
not
sure.
dying. I was like, hang on a minute. No, we'll use Ezrin.
I know that Cyrus's minions can't necessarily be healed, but they can be shielded. So like a vortex is really insane with them.
Yeah.
But I like to keep him getting. You know, it's funny. You're gonna laugh at this. This is a part. This is me. I love giving Cyrus Astro Obelisk because if he's near a healer, he gets his ult back like every 5 seconds, and he just puts another minion down, and he's still attacking the whole time. It does so much damage, and you think he's gonna just be tanky. Well, for damage, he's a really good option because he's very hard to kill.
Yeah. So I think we just bring in Arrogance
That would work.
just for
Yeah.
just for some fun, basically.
Are you gonna build a Are you gonna build a backward Cyrus team?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Because the thing is like you want Cyrus's minions to survive. So I'm thinking this is a beautiful spot for Cyrus,
That's it.
right?
I'm so glad you could put your allies down early because he would just block that spot.
Like, no, not happening.
Sorry, arrogance.
And then, yeah, I think you could do
That's good.
something like that.
I love it.
Oh no, not Cyrus, not Silas.
Where's
facing that
Silas?
way. I wouldn't want to put Silas. Just Silas is not in the fight. Possibly
blind.
something like that. Possibly,
Mm.
but you would almost want a longer range marksman.
A
if
longer
you're gonna
range,
do-
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody that has that one tile just above it.
Yeah.
And
Nick
even like in this
Sly's
case, Kyle wouldn't be that good because one, the damage isn't there, but two, he can't put a trap in the same place the minion is. So
No. So if we do that again, Cyrus, what did we say? Cyrus, Ezrin, Boreas, Arrogance, and then do you want a Nyx or a Razak? They're the two that I can see immediately.
I'm thinking I'm thinking Knicks.
Let's do it
I'm
for
thinking
Knicks.
Knicks.
Yeah.
The main reason I'm thinking Knicks for two reasons. One, because Boreas is applying a lot of freeze, which will make a big difference in people's timings. But two, people with long ults really eats up a lot of time in attacking.
Mm,
Not
that's
to
very
mention
true.
arrogance is an auto ult. So, you're really mixing up a lot of different timings. So it does make it tougher. For me in particular, it makes it tougher to know that.
Yeah. So that is what I'm thinking if we're the backwards Cyrus team down there.
I will put Boreas at the bottom facing to the right though. So he can get a little more tile. He can get that tile, but
But
he'll
it's
be
only one. He's
safer.
only then got one tile.
Yeah, but the majority of his damage really comes from that EMP. Like the single attacks do help, but you really just want to keep that EMP running all day long
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, the other
because they're
nice
going to try to get
option.
rid of the minions and Boreas at the same time with some EMP or something if they can.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
guessing. I'm really hoping.
the other option is he can go that way or that way. You
Oh
know.
my gosh, I'm already mad thinking about this now.
So if he goes that way, you can put the arrogance that way. You
Yes,
can do Ezran there. You can
this
do. I
is so
still
mean.
wouldn't do Boreas there. I'd do something like that, and then I'd actually. This is when I would almost bring in Elowin. Sorry, I know I'm like popping back and forth, but
No,
I'm
look,
close.
this is GVG at its finest. This is exactly what you do. This is the parts that people think like you see me make a video and I'm going straight into the battles. Trust me, there's a lot of friendly face off when I'm doing exactly this. Because if I don't do this, you're going to see me going 0 and 8s, and I've done that before. And I don't want to do that anymore.
No, you don't want to do that at all. And then some kind of piercer. Yeah, we're bringing in Nyx. So, because again, Nyx is amazing at A3, A5. And yeah, so we got our Cyrus, we got our Arrogance.
I so wish Bruno did more damage because he'd be so awesome here.
Right? So you'd
so
have to
wish.
sacrifice a healing spot. But
But if Nyx gets hit, chances are you've already messed up your comp. She's
Right?
way out of reach. Yeah.
But that way, I mean, I don't really like it actually.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah, I was thinking that too because like Boreas can't do anything but his EMP. This is good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
You got a bit of
Especially if he's A1. 50% chance of freeze. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you did Cyrus, you could almost put Cyrus that way, and Arrogance would still hit that tile. You know?
That's good.
And you can even push him back so he's safer, but then you are only relying on his ult. So I don't think that is necessarily the best. But there, he's still going to hit what's there. Cyrus has got his minion going all day long. Yeah. But if it's there... Sorry. My brain.
Look, this is what we do. Like, you don't have to justify this. This is exactly what we're supposed to be doing. A part of me also wonders, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What do you think of Elowen, one to the left of where she's at now, facing up?
Yeah, so I like that, except I think she's really in danger here.
I do think that they will prioritize Cyrus, though.
And this is where the question comes in on Friendly Face-Off, or like in the lives. And this is why it's all very exciting because, yeah, in my mind, this is perfect spot for her. She is covering everyone. And I mean, it also means that Nyx can go, well, actually, it would be Boreas down here, and then it would be that.
Ooh.
Right?
That's not nice.
Right?
That's awesome. Yes.
That's going to be horrible to try and beat. But if Elowen gets taken out because of some, she gets targeted, then everything falls apart.
Yes. And so this is interesting you mentioned this too. So I think there's going to be some teams that are still going to go with the block option of going with Bastion Ring. But I think there's going to be a few teams that may start using, what is it, Key of the Forsaken? Is that it? The one that gives you extra HP over time and then increases your damage. Because everybody automatically assumes an extra block. And so you automatically send the champions for an extra block. But if one slips by and the champion is weak, it just gets mashed because you thought that it was going to do great and push through. or like your tank makes it through when you thought they're supposed to hold the front guard and they just in the back dying.
I
I would
have
be
to show
interested
you
to see.
one thing that I saw that I think is absolutely what I'd call cheese, and I don't think it'll work, but if it somehow worked, it would be hilarious. And that is
This is
putting,
GVG. This is the land of crazy.
and
So
that we have to move to a piercer comp for me to show you it because it's really silly is the only way I can describe it. And yeah, so we'll go with classic Araka, Nyx, then
it's funny. I already have an idea of what we're about to do here.
oh okay, who would you like to bring?
If we're going to be doing that, I keep thinking of something that has more crowd control in the mix too. So I would go with. Well, you're doing Cultist too. Then I was thinking if there's another Pierce that has some good CC in the kit. It's not a whole lot, and I'm not trusting Kai here. I'm not. I'm just not. Sorry, Kai. But I think you're going with the stall from the gate comp. And these teams are some of the when GVG started, AI, she was one of the worst champions to play against in GVG because she literally could lock out the spawn spots. It's so funny.
So we're gonna look at a lockout comp, which would be something like that.
And
right?
I think it's still a put down champions now. They've passed that part. But even considering that, like you send your tank out, your time is ruined. You send your other options out, your time is screwed up. Everything you send out, you don't know if a Frostmine is ready.
So
oh man.
Wait. Because of the Lord bonus, she then hits this tile and this tile.
And that tile.
And straight at the portal. And the thing is like, I don't know whether that will just absolutely obliterate what's coming out of the thing, or whether it's a meme spot and she's just,
So I know that tanks can get through. I think Pharaoh probably can survive it. But the issue with that is, I mean,
what are you going to do with just tanks?
Yeah. Exactly. They're going to just walk across and stop it wherever they stop at. But, oh my gosh, if she gets involved. She's the meanest GVG character, in my personal opinion, just because she disrupts more than any champion I could think of as far as an offensive mage. That's crazy.
That's a really silly comp.
Now the thing for those of you that are watching this, because you're instantly thinking like the master like GVG players, oh, I just run a tank through it all. I want you to consider the fact that you have to run a tank, then you have to run somebody that can survive Nyx and survive AI's bombs to make it through. And this team is made to slog you down.
Yeah.
Whatever you send out, take forever to get to the next spot.
Yeah.
And it does make it an idea you can beat it, but it makes it very unpredictable.
I need to go back one more, but she wouldn't work there. So you'd need something like, the problem is actually I going there, she then gets sniped.
Yeah.
But you would put some other very high damage dealer there. So I wouldn't be the best choice there. But
I would be interested to see if with this team, because we're putting so many slows and stuff involved in here, I would be interested if Dahlia would be a good idea behind Aracha facing out in this comp. Because she gets another 2 tiles, and then there's more slows, and then there's poison.
Yeah, let's have a look. So we want Araka, we want Nyx, we want Hollow. I mean, really, you want an Elowin for this comp, for the speed, don't you? So, actually, let's see if we can make something with an Elowin.
Especially just considering being able to get those ults back up again. Because once Nyx's ult is done, she's in park for a while.
Unless you have A3, at which point she can just cycle. It's great.
It's just a cheat code.
Right?
What is it, 50 rage per kill? And she's killing groups.
Yeah. It's like, there we go. So, be a Dahlia again there with the Araka, with the thing. So you're only losing 2 tiles, which is fine, I think, for the slows. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
she does a lot more damage than you think she does. Yeah, right there.
yeah. And then you put your Nyx up there. But even if you didn't want to cheese it, if you put your Nyx there,
With the
like,
extra bonus, she's still going to be hitting 2 tiles.
she's still going to be hitting in front. I mean, and again, you don't even have to put her there. You could put her there because the tank's still parallel.
Yeah,
So
and
you,
the interesting thing about that, so if she's in that spot, I would prefer her to be one back in the other spot to the left. But there's so much AOE damage going on here, you would really have to have tanks to try to push through this broke here, and you just gotta hope that it works out. But Dolly does way more damage than people think she does.
yeah,
Could try aerial units, but you do have a Racha and you do have Nyx to worry about, and Nyx prioritizes air with her regular attack,
yeah.
so it
And
would
you
be
wouldn't
tough to get
even
that.
need, and this is the thing, like, I don't even think in this you need a Nyx. You could use a Sargak and different things. And I have to say, like, there are the old meta teams of Chaos and Arbiter, I think again are going to do very, very well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so just to wrap things up, because there are so many
Because we've been cooking.
possibilities.
We've been cooking.
We're gonna bring in one last time: defender, long range fighter, mage, marksman. Go on, Alora. You can have your one and only time that you will ever see a GVG map, and
For display purposes only.
yeah, and we'll go for the holo, because I think her in the vortex range is going to be the best. So tank positions here, 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 and here. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Say it one more time. I was sending a message while I was sending this. Like I'm literally multitasking everything.
We'll start again. That's fine. So, in terms of tank positions of where you would put your tank on the map, I think your options are here, 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 and here.
And
Anywhere else
middle,
that you can see that you'd put your tank?
Those are the only place I would put them. Unless that tank has some extra utility in their kit, like, Azor stuns or something, which I don't recommend using for GVG. Let's just be clear. I'm just saying an example of a champion. But yeah, I think those are going to be your prime spots.
Yeah. Long range fighter or fighter in general, I think you've got this spot. I think you've got here as well, potentially. I think you've got here. And then here and here, right?
Yeah. Work with that.
Yeah. Then for
Laura, she feels so happy to be chosen right now.
Young Laura, she gets to see a GVG map.
She gets to see the map. She only gets to hear about it. How'd you guys do out there?
So I think we're both in agreement that this tile is a bad idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because you have to have a champion that stays invisible. Like doesn't so you can have an option like Hatsit, because she has to have her artifact.
Yeah.
Because she pops invisible when she pops her ult, and she has a bonus damage when she's invisible. So you can work with that, but that's kind of niche. And if they see a Hatsit that far out, they might figure out that that's why you're doing it.
Yeah, because it's like, why would you put something in that range? So
Yeah.
I think again you've got, this is a nice spot. This I don't think is a nice spot because it's just not a lot of coverage.
Because it's a Laurel.
I don't
sorry.
really think and it's a Laurel, yeah. And then I think this is a nice spot. I think this is a nice spot. This is a beautiful spot for a platform unit.
Yeah. That's kind of like my favorite place to put down an archer right now.
Right?
Marksman.
This is conditional on whether or not if your tanks are here or that kind of stuff.
Or down in the base.
Again, this is a vulnerable position, isn't it?
I think in this content, I think Brocare is going to get prioritized because they won't come into Alara's range before they come into Brocare. Also, why is her shadow so heavy compared to Brocare's? I don't know. She's really ready to work.
There's
Her
nothing. There's nothing about Allura that makes sense to me. Like genuinely, it's like they tried to make another Hatset with the invisibility and burst damage, and
they just made a hat trick. That's
it
it.
just didn't work. So yeah, I think this works. I think again that is nice, especially if you've got that longer range.
Mhm.
I think that not my ideal spot, and I definitely wouldn't put something there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's weird too because that other spot you showed in the back, I'm of the opinion I don't have a hat sit. I want to have a hat sit, but I'm of the opinion that that back right spot, way in the back right, would
this
be an
one.
interesting spot. One over. Yeah. I'm sorry, to the right. I'm sorry.
This one.
Yeah, I would be interested if that's not a bad idea for a hat sit.
Yeah, because
Because she
she
can do
would,
her regular damage, but she's gonna pop the ult whenever anything sneaks through, which is gonna be great.
which is there. Yeah, it's only going to
Mhm.
be if something goes into that tile, those two tiles, which means
Yeah.
it'd be very hard to get to the portal with the burst that she would do.
Yeah, like you have to have the timing for this down when they're coming out the portal.
Yeah. Oh,
Like, you got to
100%.
plan for this way ahead of time.
Okay, and then mages. I think it's similar, but because they've
Mhm.
got that weirder range, I think it's almost less options than where you'd put a marksman. Would you
Yeah,
agree?
yeah. I think main majors are going to have a tough time. Those two spots in the back, not back middle, but to the two ups. Yeah, those the spots right there. Not that one, a little bit lower. Those are probably going to be their prime spots on this map. That one
Yeah.
and the one to the right of them, or if they're long range, putting them over to the bottom left, like that spot, and then the one down there. Like that's really the only ones I think people are going to be putting them to work in.
Yeah, it's that corner and that corner, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Everything else is risk, or they're just not able to do what they need to do,
Yeah. And
or the
obviously,
Boreas.
this is our little Dahlia spot. The other thing I did say is this is also a Dahlia spot. I did forget to
Mm.
say this is a Dahlia
Oh my
spot.
gosh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Interesting. If you do that as a Dahlia spot and then have a Cyrus facing up, oh my gosh. Oh my
The
gosh.
potential. Well, this is the exciting thing, right? Is that like in a couple of weeks, people are gonna have come up with such good ideas. But I wanted, because this is going to be the first thing, and a lot of questions I get are how to build a defense. I thought, yeah, let's have a chat about where you could put things, and then I think honestly, the first couple of weeks, everything's going to get beaten. I really do. I like.
Exactly.
I do. I think everything is going to get beaten for the first couple of weeks because I think it'll just be like, oh yeah, I figured out how to get through this.
It's such a wild, wild west. And then it's like there's more demons being involved. And also there's going to be people who's going to be upset because the healer now works with lower health champions more than tanks. So you're going to have the fool to use your tanks to the best potential if you want to shield them. Heal
Hot
is not going
tip.
to be as viable. Yeah, look, this is what we do. So we throw the pro tips out. Look, I call them pro tips because the pros know. That's
Yeah.
all.
What I love so much is like if I'm to point to you, like looking at you, I point that way, and then I realize, hang on a minute, I've got to point that way.
I've literally got to a habit where I know to look at face when I'm talking in the video.
It's like, which direction am I looking at? Yeah, over there, which is away from the computer. Okay. But yeah, so I completely agree. I think this is your prime mage spot. I think you can do that one. I think this is primed. Same with
Yeah.
here, and I think you could
You
do
could
that,
do
but
back
it's
if you're
not
really
ideal.
going tanky.
It's
Yeah.
not ideal.
They have to have something in their kit that helps them reach beyond their range at that point.
Yeah. And then healers, I'm going to pretend Allura is your other type of healer when we need
I mean,
to.
she might as well be because she's not a Mars.
She's not doing anything. This is a lovely spot for a healer, especially a Vortex Hollow, right?
Yeah.
You basically covering all of
Yeah.
that. I would say the same for that position.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could even do this if you were
Healers
using
have to run the
bottoms,
mill.
right?
See, this is what I like too. This is also going to be interesting for champions that have that Dolores range. Not using Dolores, but
Mm.
if you can get some more stronger healers that have that range, like an alien would be awesome in his mount, right where you have Hollow right now.
Right? Actually, that could be a nice Aelin spot. Um,
Yeah.
this is obviously nice, and this little corner is obviously nice as well. But if you have an Allura range healer, so might as well be Allura, you are going to have to
Make some choices.
yeah. I mean, that would cover everything. But again, and this is the thing with GVD, you do have comps where you go, I'm not going to have this one in healer range because they're protected by something else. So it's not the end of the world. And we already
Isn't it
showed
weird
the
when we
Elo
first started
spots.
playing, we thought everybody needed to be in healer range? We thought everybody needed to be safe. It's like, not really.
Not really. Especially not. But yeah, I think that'll be interesting. I still think Arbiter Chaos teams will be meta just because of their
Yeah.
units.
Yeah.
I think
Because of all the stuff that they can do. And the
right.
more that's being added to them. I do want to see how disruptive Watcher teams are going to be. Of course, with the new one that's going to be coming soon, that's one thing. But also that buff that Leia gets now, which by the way, I won't mention more. I'll show a video about that. That buff that Leia gets that's gold. That buff that Leia gets now, you got to realize that happens periodically. So it can go from, oh, I think I can beat this team to you're in the danger zone
Yeah.
really quickly. And your
Yeah.
damage is like obliterates what you have. So it's going to be really interesting how disruptive that can get.
And I think especially if you would then have Ingrid as the Lord, Leia as the healer,
Oof.
you could then bring in Regulus because he's got that invincibility. The only reason
Mhm.
Regulus, I believe, is not in more teams is because of his faction. Like, he has that damage mitigation and the invincibility, which is what you want in a tank.
In a tank, yeah. He just doesn't have any support from Allura to do really good damage. And of course, Leia's range kind of makes her a little more challenging to use because it's very limited ahead. I think it's like it's just 2 tiles ahead, right?
Well, it's the same as Elowin's range, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wait, we
I
gotta
want to
go
say
check this. We
gotta
go
make
check.
sure.
Before we start, I mean, you're the one with an A3 Leia.
I mean,
Thank you very much.
It just occurred. Check this out too. If you're going to look at Leia, tap her ult because now they're showing the true ranges of everything in the game now. So if you tap her ult, you'll see the true range of her ult ability. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, so she's got that one behind, one in front. It's not a true Elowin range, but then her ult range would cover everyone.
Well,
So
just click the hero skills and hit max. I think it does end up becoming that. Not hero skills. It's right. It's right beside
so
my
it is
picture.
that Elowin range. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. I was like, wait a second, just to make sure.
No, you're right. You're right. It is that Elowin range. With the buff that she's getting, I think she's then a viable healer in GVG.
Every heal. Oh my gosh.
Right? And then you would put, like I said, you'd put a Regulus in there. And the thing is, like, you don't have to make it all watch guards. So if you had Leia, Ingrid, and Regulus as your three, that's the magic damage, the defender, and the healer with rage. Then you could either do a second tank, or you bring in a fighter, and then you bring in some kind of spicy marksman.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be upset when they see that 50% bonus damage just drop out of nowhere, and that whole idea just gets eradicated.
Like, boom.
People will be mad.
Yeah.
It will be a bad feeling.
And then finally, the two dragons. I mean, Ajax has always been god tier for GVG.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. Yes. But I'm interested to see what people come up with Ymrit.
So this is where I think Ymrit's going to be good in that little pocket on the left side of the map because you don't have to worry about block anyway. And he does. I think somebody said he doesn't do a lot of damage. You're wrong. He does great damage.
But honestly,
really
I think one of the biggest things underestimated in GVG is crowd control because it allows your team to then get their ults back. And you know,
and it shakes up their timing so much more than they thought it was going to be. You just thought it was going to be okay. I can still make it to the other end, but now there's a 6-second gap, and your guys aren't ready yet. Or they are, and it can ruin a lot. Yeah,
I agree.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Any other wild ideas about defense? Any other hot tips for setting up a defense, do you think, in this brand new season?
I think one thing you said needs to be reiterated. For those of y'all that are playing this map, you do not have to have all of your champions in the range of a healer. I do have to reiterate that because that was something that held by a lot of people that asked me about GVG stuff. And it was like, but they're not in range. I was like, but they're not ever going to get hit. And that idea needs to be something that everybody's consistently thinking that they don't need to have everybody in there. If they can serve the purpose of just doing DPS, they need to be just doing that job.
Yeah, I think that's a very good.
That's good enough to repeat.
Yeah, I think that's going to be good. And yeah, I am very, very excited about this new season. I really am.
Yes.
Like, I love the fact they've brought a new map in. It's just, it's so exciting.
A new map, new demons. I think you can farm another demon in Gear Raid 1 now.
Yeah,
he's available at 19 to 21 instead of just at 21.
But I do have something that happened this morning that is so exciting that I had to wait till we were collabing to do. And that is one of the milestones that you can reach with GVG. Obviously, there's getting more, which is very exciting. And there's getting level 5 bombs. But
thank you.
Level 5 axes.
Yes.
I
don't think I'm there yet either. So I gotta farm.
This 15% attack is like huge.
And you don't realize how big a deal that is until you realize he's hitting like 4 times, and that 50% does stack up a lot more than you think it does.
It's insane. And
these metrics don't sound like a lot until you try them.
And he's so rare. Like, I cannot tell you the hundreds upon hundreds of runs that I have done to try and get. I'm not even kidding you. I was missing one tile. I was on 159 out of 160 for 2 weeks.
Oof. Oof. Oh
2
my
weeks.
gosh.
So anyway, that is now upgraded to level 5. Yes.
He's now holding the weapon right.
Yes. So yeah, that is
awesome.
One of those beautiful milestones in GVG. So
you got the roster. Did you have the Scalekin? What is the Scalekin champion? Is that the one you're missing?
No. The Scalekin champion. I don't have him yet. He's super rare.
I have a couple of his. I've
got 4.
Yeah. I think I have like 1 or 2. He's hard to get.
But then this is the new Frozen Drifter, which
so this guy is going to be concerning to me because I guess I got to read his kit because it just popped out on the screen like today, right?
Yeah.
I need to see if his frost freezes the allies and makes them ignore, because I think that's that kind of buff. Yes, it is. Yeah. So oh my gosh. Oh, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So now you got to think about debuff removers.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Because if you know that he's about to freeze, you then run through after and everything will go through.
The funniest thing is like, how would this work on Broke here? Like, is it his cold? Is he like it's in his kit? My man's getting frozen. Like, this is not my ice.
It's like, which freeze is it? But yeah, it's quite good actually. He gets this. Again, new Demon Soldier, new tactics.
Oh my god. Yeah. This is the content that I enjoy. Oh my goodness. You send 2 of those out there behind the tank. They literally can push through oh my goodness. This is going to be scary.
But yeah, this is
to see what this guy can do.
Yeah, so look, the 2 of them come out. You can watch the snowflake go up. So when the snowflake gets to 4 out of the 5, so just before then, that's when I would send like dogs and other overrun units. And then
why they have to show like 2 people, him being under fire by 2 people and still just pushing through? Don't do this to people. Don't mess with their minds like this.
No, it's going to be a lot harder than this to make that work, you know?
They just set people up for the okie doke right there. That's crazy.
Yeah. But they are only using single target marksman in the example, so we'll see.
Can you read off the stats for him as well on the right-hand side? Because I'm blocking him right now.
Oh, sorry. So his attack is A, HP is A, defense is C, magic resistance is C, and speed is B. quantity level 2, energy level 4, so they're super cheap.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
got
For what they
this
do. Yeah.
12% chance to inflict Winter's Bite when attacking. They
Crazy.
slightly short of freeze while receiving increased continuous damage, whatever that is. And then at level 5, they'll get
Crowd control, basically.
Sorry?
I said basically some like poison and bleed or something like that. That's really it. But I don't know if you're going to see as much as that out there anyway. So.
But do you want to read the level 5 passive?
This is where it gets nuts, y'all. For every 4 basic attacks, reduces the attack interval by 25% up to 50%. So, like I said, that tank's going to be there, and he's going to get crazy. This effect disappears when switching targets. Why is he switching targets? He's hitting the same tank. Or when no basic attack is launched within 6 seconds, he's still going to be attacking. If he's not attacking, he's walked past, but he was done attacking.
Yeah, and if he does a 50% speed, you're going to get that 12% proc happening.
Yeah. And this is also going to be challenging for allies that get rid of debuffs on ults. Because if the ult timer is done, he literally can reapply it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This little guy. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Look at him. You know he's got it. You know he's got the boost. He's ready.
Yeah. I wonder where we get him from. He's only available from Guild War now, so he'll be the same as the Pharaoh. He'll be a Guild War exclusive.
Which, to be fair, that's a good reward. That's a good place to have him because he really should be reserved for people that are playing this that much.
Yeah.
To get him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to start.
I think it'll be a couple of weeks before we see him because you don't get many of these shards anyway. So
yeah. I think that's also a safe way to start GVG. Do not start it with him at the beginning. Please do not. Good Lord.
No. So yeah, that has been amazing fun. Little bonus extra demon soldier on the end there, but going over different placements or possibilities for GVG defense. Thank you so much, Mike, for coming on. It's been great to have your expertise as well.
This is the closest that I get to the Shire, so. I will say too, for those of y'all who are watching this content, just write in the chat like what are some comps of like teams that you really want to try out, that you're just interested to see what could work. I want to know, we want to know, especially Slate because it's her channel. She wants to know what ideas you guys are going to be coming up with. I will say one of the big things about the test server is friendly face-off isn't as much of a thing, especially in Guild v Guild because most people don't make Guild teams because most people don't play GVG on the test server. So this is a fresh start for the majority of the player base. So I'm very interested to see what everybody comes up with in this time frame.
Definitely. And yeah, go check out Mike's channel. That will be pinned in the description below. We will both be doing a lot of GVG content, I'm sure, as the season progresses. So that is going to wrap things up. Once again, Mike, thank you so much for coming on the channel. Do drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, everyone. I will see you in the next video. He will see you in his next video. So until then, take care and bye for now.
Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Peace.